Podcast. I'm your host, Stratton Brown. I interview successful entrepreneurs from around the world to see what moves they've made in their lives to get successful and, more importantly, stay successful. I'm here to make sure you can create a better life for you and your family. Let's tune in. Welcome to the Winning Move Podcast. I'm your host, Stratton Brown. We have an awesome guest on today, Brian Driscoll. I met him at the $1 Million Meeting event. I had no idea who owned his company, Motivated Leads, and I got to sit there and talk to him for a couple hours, and I think he's an amazing entrepreneur. He's doing a lot of great things, real estate investors, investing in real estate himself, and so let's bring him on. Thanks for coming, my man.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Not much. Working. It's a beautiful day out here. They may hear people redoing our asphalt outside, but besides that, it's a great day.
Nice. Yeah, it's starting to get cold out here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. So is it like 70 degrees over there right now?
No, it's like 50, 40 in the morning.
What?
Yep.
That's why it's 90 degrees here in Fresno.
I know.
Yeah, it's still 90 degrees. But, bro, so how did you get into the real estate space? Let's start off with that. Then I want to learn how you got into the marketing space too.
Yeah, so I got into real estate back in the day. I actually needed another house. Well, first, I got into real estate with Ron LeGrand way back in the day, like 98. Went to a seminar. My dad took me, bought his course in the back of the room for like $1,800, which is a lot of money then. I was like 18 years old. Went out, got a whole bunch of leads, put the ads in the newspapers, like you saying, didn't know what to do with them and failed. Failed miserably, So got back into it. I still remembered all that, like the sub-2 and all that kind of stuff. Then I was looking for a new house. I had a 2-bedroom house when I had my first kid. We had another kid coming, and okay, I started looking on Craigslist, and then I stumbled upon a wholesaler. I'm like, okay, I bought my first property. I went out to look at it, and I bought it. I bought the house. I'm like, that's what triggered me to get back into it, like probably 10, 15 years later. You know what I mean? And then from that, and I saw it was like a $15,000 wholesale fee. I'm like, dude, this is nuts. So I started, and I've always done marketing. So yeah, that's how it all came to be. I bought the property. I'm like, I can get these on my own. And I primarily do the burst strategy. So I just decided, hey, I'm going to buy properties. I get the house for free is what I look at it. It's like I put up 150 grand cash, fix the property, and the bank gives it all back to me. And I just burr all within one zip code.
Yeah, it's all crazy how concentrated your portfolio is.
Yeah, it's literally like I won't drive more than 5 miles to get to a place.
So at what point in time did this all happen?
Minutes.
Yeah, What's 5 minutes. What point in time did you buy this house from the wholesaler? Like what year?
That's about eight years ago.
8 years ago?
Yeah.
And so what did it look like after that?
Well, what look like? Getting into the real
like, so you bought it from the wholesaler 8 years ago, and you're like, all right, I'm in my house. And then you're like, you know what? I can just do this on my own. And you started running ads and crushing them, building up a portfolio.
Yes. Well, yes, exactly. Yeah. They're starting slower though. You know what I mean? But yeah, so what I did is I just slapped up a carrot site just to see what would happen. Because my background is dealing with like big e-commerce and like real competitive stuff. Like, okay, let's see what happens. I just slapped up a carrot website, and we started getting leads. Like, okay, this is cool. And I didn't want to buy the houses. Like, I don't want to drive far. I'm a digital marketer. Yeah. So I went and I started finding the wholesalers and find out who are the players in Pittsburgh that do investing, and started hitting them up. I'm like, hey, if I got leads for you, I got leads that want to sell. You want to do JV? Everyone's like, yeah, we'll do it. So then you send them leads. 6 months later, you find out they closed, they forget where they come from. That did not pan out on the JV side. It took me a while to figure it out. I failed on that like 5 times.
You got to find the right partner, because I've done the same shit.
Yeah. And it's not even the partner like being shady or anything. It's just they're not organized. They don't know how to track back a lead to 6 months later or 8 months later, whenever it came from. So I did end up hooking up with a guy named Dustin, though. He's a good friend of mine now. And it works real well with him. We JV. But yeah, I just started sending leads to them and cherry picking.
So you're just going through them like, okay, I like this one. This is in my zip code. And then were you negotiating and buying them yourself, or did you have someone else doing that for you?
No, I buy them myself. Yeah, I negotiate, buying myself. I was property managing myself. I was doing it all. I was managing the rehab, managing the crew, renting them, dealing with the tenants screwing you, all that stuff.
So tell me about, like, what is your online marketing background as far as e-com goes?
Yeah, my online background, I started on Upwork. It was actually Odesk way back in the day. Yeah, I got involved in there. I got involved charging people $20, learning how to teaching them how to do SEO.
Then but where did you learn how to do SEO?
School of Hard Knocks, just like monkeying around on a computer. I learned there was a forum. It's called Warrior Forum. It's way before your time, I bet. It's just where a lot of people were talking about like digital stuff. I went on there, bought like a $40 course learning WordPress and just tinkering around, like trial and error. My one buddy owned a digital marketing agency. He got me into it too. Just tinkering around because there's no rule book in SEO.
So even right now, like there's still no rule book in SEO. Isn't there at all like backlinks and shit? Like I don't know anything about it.
So here's what SEO is on a nutshell. What you're doing is Google's primary job is to give their viewers or the visitors the answers what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So in SEO, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a website relevant for the phrases we want people to find us for. For example, if I want people to sell their house, I want to rank for sell my house fast in Pittsburgh or phrases like that. So what it comes down to the content on your website, like the words. It comes down to backlinks. People look at backlinks like votes. And Google looks at, okay, if your website says sell my house fast Pittsburgh on the page, it has other sites linking to your website in the anchor text, like the blue link saying sell my house fast Pittsburgh.
And that's your website's
probably, that's a backlink.
Okay.
It's like, then they look, okay, your website's probably about that, and you have a higher chance of ranking. But it's in the free section. Google doesn't really make money on the free organic listings. So they don't really tell you how to rank, and their algorithm's constantly changing.
Do you think they change it just so it makes it harder for you guys?
No, I think they change it based to give better results. You know what I mean? Like because they're constantly trying to get the best results. Like back in the day, we used to be able to spam backlinks. Like we used to be able to go on blogs. You know how blogs have comments at the bottom?
Uh-huh.
We used to go in there, we'd write scripts or bots, things like that, and have it populate something with our link in there.
Shit.
And we do it at mass and get backlinks to our website. And that would work. But then Google, eventually their algorithm catches that stuff. Same with like PBNs. It's like a network. If someone owns like 100 websites, they'll go in and try to link to your website and make it look organic. And then Google catches you as being a spammer, and then they blacklist your website, all that good stuff.
So I couldn't go out and buy, let's say I go out and buy 10,000 websites on GoDaddy, and I have a bunch of different backlinks from those websites to my main website. That still wouldn't work well? Like Google would be like, no, you're a spammer, and they'd track back the IPs?
Well, see, spamming on one side, it works until you get caught. You know what I mean? So So what you got with SEO, you got white hat, gray hat, and black hat. That's what they call it. White hat's doing everything above board. It's like we're writing articles, we're getting featured on Forbes.com, things like that. Totally legit links linking to our website. Gray hat, I look at more as like we're creating content and forcing it out there, but it's still good content. And then black hat is, hey, I'm just going to go buy 10,000 links from someone on Fiverr and just spam our website, which worked too. Like sometimes a lot of people thrive on that. They're like, you know what? I'll get rankings for 2-3 months. I'm good with it. I don't care if the website disappears.
And the website can legit disappear
from Google. Yeah. Like the website's still there. It just, if you get penalized, I know back in, I think it was 2004. Was it 2004, 2004? Yeah, I think it was 2004. There was a Penguin update. And I remember this still. That's whenever we used to, you had the different, not to get too in depth, but anchor
you can
text.
Get as in depth as you want.
All right, cool. So you have anchor text, right? That's the blue links that are on a website. Uh-huh. We used to go out, if we wanted to rank for sell my house fast, we would go use that exact anchor text on like 1,000 websites or however many we were. It's always the same anchor text. Penguin update came out. They started noticing those trends, and it's not natural. And websites completely, they went out of business like overnight. Like they completely dropped all their rankings. It was like, and that's what everyone did at that time. So it's like, that was acceptable. And then the rules changed.
And there's no more traffic. Yeah, and there's just no more traffic driving to it.
Right. And it put people, one of my buddies, he had an e-commerce business, like literally his sales went from like 40 grand a month to like 8, just overnight.
What? Nuts. Well, I feel like that guy, if he would have collected all the emails of all of his customers, he could have kept that phone ringing, but no.
Yeah, he did. Email
how much of it is, how much of that traffic, and you may not know, was like new traffic and as to repeat traffic?
A lot of it was new traffic, but he did have the emails, and that's actually how he did it. He started emailing his list.
Yeah, I was going to say,
all past customers.
That'd be the only savior.
Yeah, which he sold oscillating tool blades. Like the oscillating tool, the saw.
Yeah.
So it was a great repeat purchase because people keep going through saw blades.
Exactly. Oh wow. Is that thing still around?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's Fitzall. Fitzall blades.com.
I love good ecom brands that have a need for repeat customers. Like I met a dude in Powerhouse and he had a welding brand. And so welders make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And they go through all the things that he's selling them super fast because like welding, like it's blue collar, stuff burns. I was like, bro, that's like the most amazing business ever. As long as like you're in front of them consistently, like you're never going to run out of customers and you're making a good product and your customer can afford it all.
Yeah, 100%.
They need it. That's why I love the e-commerce space.
Yeah, ecom's cool. Chad came from the ecom. They were doing my business partner. They were doing like selling wooden cell phone cases. Ecom's just fun because it's so we have lead gen. That's what I do, right?
Yeah.
Now that's where we're getting leads. They call us or they come through our website. We got to call them. We have a long sales process. Ecom's cut and dry. You send traffic to a website, they click an add to cart button or they purchase. It's done.
Yeah.
And if they click add to cart and they don't purchase, we can retarget them and put promo codes in front of them to bring them back.
Exactly. I mean, I guess you would have a lower margin, but besides that, it's a lot more scalable in certain aspects.
Yeah.
So how competitive has the online advertising space got as of the last 2 years? Let's talk about the iOS update as far as what you do and all the online marketers everywhere. Because bro, I tried copying your ads, right? As far as doing a what is it? Like a still.
Okay.
And it's just dog shit. We'll talk about this afterwards. But I haven't converted anything off of like $300 trying to sell a $5 ebook. And so going through all that.
Pixels on the site?
No.
Yeah. So okay. So here's what you got to do. Even anyone listening to, if you're doing Facebook ads, go into your ad account, get the Facebook pixel. Number one, put it on every page of your website. That's what helps their algorithm. Second thing you have to do is on your thank you page, go put an event on there, either complete registration or lead. And then you tell Facebook you want them to get people that do whatever that event is you just made. So I want more leads. I want more complete registrations.
I have the second part. I don't have the pixel. I need to go put a pixel on everything because I'm only sending it to a lander.
Right.
For
you have a thank you page there, right?
Yeah, like when they check out.
Right. Yeah. So,
but go ahead.
No, I was going to say basically Facebook's going to give you whatever you ask for. Like when you set up the campaign, did you set it up for conversions or link clicks or what?
I think I set up for conversions, and then because I don't like doing, because we've sold some free, well, not sold some free stuff. I've given away some free ebooks, but then I don't like having leads go straight into Facebook, right? Because those aren't as good. Because I mean, they can just autofill that shit, and it's never good.
Yeah, it's real garbage.
Website ad payment info is my result that I'm going for. Maybe I'm doing that wrong.
Probably, yeah. I can show you. Yeah, because it's you have to have it set up right, or it's you're just gonna waste your money.
Yeah, I mean it's only $300 so far, not too bad. So people who are in real estate or in any other business, what's like the best way to set up your ads to convert? Because the amount of leads you guys get in a day is still astronomical to me. And so let's give some people some actionable tips as far as, hey, this is what we do, and then you can do these things yourself, but we're the best anyways, and so you should just do it through us.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of people that can do it on their end too. It depends if you want to trade sweat or money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Here's tips for you. I got that. If you're running Facebook ads, number one, get the Facebook pixel on your website, the entire website. Get an event on the thank you page. In your messaging, like if we're going for motivated sellers, in your messaging, don't do things like get a free home valuation or how much is your house worth. Be direct with people. Pay the extra cost per lead to get a quality lead. So, and even before I talk about that, like what you're talking about, don't do lead forms. Lead forms suck. That's whenever you're running ads in Facebook, Facebook pops up a form inside of Facebook, auto populates your information, and then it's done. Take people from a direct ad to a website, use the website to disqualify them. Like be really direct on the website also, and then have them fill out the form.
With that. Yeah, you guys are, what do you say, 12 steps?
Yeah. Yeah, because I look at the website, I want it to disqualify. So say we're talking about motivated sellers. Would you rather close 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 50, right?
1 out of 10.
Right. Now, how about if the 1 out of 50 only costs $5 a lead and the 1 out of 10 costs $50? You know what I mean? Like, you got to look, because a lot of people look at lead gen, they're like, I want the cheapest leads possible. And it's like, and it depends where you're at in your stage. If you're new, go for the cheap leads, like even go for driving for dollars, things like that. But once you get more successful and busy, you need to be efficient. So your website can disqualify people, have questions in there or have things in your website that are going to put people off that aren't looking for what you're offering for. Like ask them questions like, do you want to sell your house fast? Confirm it's not listed on the market. What are your goals? How many repairs? And the big thing I see on the front end is the actual creative. Like use the words like sell your house fast as your ad. Put beat up houses. Don't put pretty houses. All that kind of stuff. Just think from a seller side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So on your front end ads and with this qualification, do you feel like you're missing out on something of someone trying to be sly, not like show all their cards to you, or no?
What do you mean?
Like, let's say, I mean, because all sellers are liars. I will say that all sellers are liars. And so as they're filling out that form, they say something that disqualifies them, and they didn't really mean that. They were just trying to get away with some shit, and they didn't want to say anything until they got on the phone with someone.
Yeah, I don't know. Not so much. I'm not worried about that too much because I don't really care. Like on that side, like the numbers would be so small. Maybe not. I like to just make it really hard for them. I want them to disqualify themselves. I want them to not come through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying too. Like some guys are like, oh yeah, the questions I asked though aren't going to those questions won't disqualify them. Like if we're talking about sellers though, like you'll get people coming through on your website that they have a house listed. So if I ask you, is your house listed, yes or no? If you click that yes button, you don't get to see my calendar. So you know what I mean? Like it's just not there. They think they just filled it out, but we're just not going to call them. I can't do anything with the house on the market.
No, not at all. And the majority of your sites are Carrot sites, right?
We use Carrot. We do some custom landers too, custom websites. So we're always testing different stuff. Carrot converts pretty well though.
What are you using for your custom landers?
Instapage.
Is that just another version of ClickFunnels?
Kind of. It looks nicer. Yeah, ClickFunnels is more built for a funnel. I'm using it as a lander, just a landing page. So I don't need the whole funnel, upsell, downsell kind of stuff. If I'm doing books, courses, stuff like that, I do ClickFunnels.
Okay. Have you used 2.0 yet?
ClickFunnels 2.0?
Yeah.
I don't know. I use regular ClickFunnels.
Right. I don't know. I am a Russell Brunson fan at this point. Like I think it's pretty legit. He's
a genius. I was in one of his 2 Comma Club, one of those mastermind things back in the day.
Oh, how was that?
It was expensive. I'll tell you that. It wasn't the original ones that everyone talks about. It was like more like you buy a course and you're in it. But Russell Brunson, his psychology and like his salesmanship is awesome. Like he's probably one of the best around right now with the psychology on how to sell online.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So for example, if you look at every single movie, all the good movies, right? Every good movie follows the same format in a movie. They have a hero, they have the story, like it's kind of like the T. Well, same thing, even with presentations. If you look at webinars, things like that, most of the successful ones will go in and it's like, hey, my name's Brian. Hey, you know what? I had really tough times, this and that. We're the same. Then I'm successful, and we get the pitch, right? So he does a really good job on bringing himself at scale to the level of every single person listening to relate and actually sell a product. And he does it through storytelling, things like that. And a psychologist, a lot of storytelling. It's like, he's really, really, really good.
Are you a good storyteller? If you are, where have you learned how to tell better stories? That's one thing I am actively trying to get better at, is being a better storyteller.
I think I'm a bad storyteller.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm good at telling stories. I for some stories, through the Russell Brunson stuff, I learned some storytelling stuff there. And even there was some he calls it the Seinfeld series. So say even on emails, they send an email every single day. He said that he calls it the Seinfeld series because he's like, I'm just sending people emails. They're about nothing, but they're connecting with me. It's like, hey, you know what? I went out, walked my dog, whatever. It has a call to action. Like, so even different things like that, the stories, like even on that level, are pretty cool. I took a course on VSLs a while ago though. That helped a little bit on stories.
Are you have you seen success with emailing sellers as soon as they hit your funnel and keeping them in your funnel?
100%. Even texting, even more.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it like texting, almost like e-commerce texting? Because we're incorporating the texting in the Call Magicians. As far as just staying in front of people, I'd love to hear what software you use.
I just use Go High Level.
Oh, so is everything you have built on Go High Level?
Yeah, we use Go High Level. I used to do it back in the reason I figured out how it worked is back in the day I had a notepad on my phone. Every time a lead came in, I'd copy it. Say, hey, thanks for filling out a form. Here's a link to my calendar to book a time for us to come give you an offer. Because I didn't want to call these people, right? So, and I just text them this link, and people booked. We have a 34% book rate just from text. So if anyone's not doing that, get text message immediately, because it gauges the motivation of the people. And you book the appointment. You don't necessarily have to go. Still call these people and vet them before you go out to see them. You know what I mean? But yeah, texting, and then even the drip text and email, because a lot of people aren't ready right now.
A lot of people still aren't ready. I think that's the one misconception that the gurus have pushed everywhere, is that these people are all going to sell within 30 days, to where a majority of people are at least 3 months.
Right.
For one reason or another. Like they have to talk to their aunt, their grandma, their aunt, like legitimate, like pet aunt, whatever it is, like just some fucking bullshit.
Yeah. And you know what too? If you're doing Google pay-per-click, for an example, if you're in Pittsburgh, you go to my website, and you know how people go like boom, 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 clicking Google ads and filling out everyone's form. You go to my website, and if I text you, I just pulled you away from what you were doing, and there's a chance you're not going back to fill out the competition.
That's a really good point, right? Because now, okay, they're here, like they're already like getting to me. We're good to go.
Yeah. I got an appointment booked tomorrow. They're coming out. I get to quit filling out forms.
That is really, really smart. And so as far as I'd like to dig more into that email, because that came up in my mastermind the other day. He's like, has anybody else like built out like an email sequence for sellers? Have you done that before?
Yeah.
As far as like they're there, what does that look like? Is it? I was telling him more for me, like how we were talking about what I do with email with Call Magicians. I was like, bro, just hit them with value and then random calls to action. Like they will reach out to you when they need to, because they're going to get your emails and they're going to get your cold call, and your follow-ups and your text follow-ups and everything else. Like, what's your approach to that?
My approach is easy. Like I just hit them with like a one-liner. I don't even really give them value. Sometimes we'll give them a tip, something like that, but it's more like, hey, you filled out a form last week. Are you still interested? Let me know. And just like a constant sequence of that. We'll hit them up for like 3 months, but it's just like a touching base kind of thing. On our digital marketing side, we do value and stuff like that. But like on the sellers, it's like I don't know if they necessarily need value. They're just not ready yet. They're trying to sell a house. We'll give them some tips sometimes. Yeah. Like things to watch out for, stuff like that. But I don't usually get into that too much. It's like real direct. It's like, hey, if you're interested, hey, if you're not interested, that's cool. We'll hit you back in like a month if change your mind, or just let us know if you're not.
Okay. I like that a lot.
You know what? I'm big on too, telling people, like if I text you, like, hey, Strat, hey, you still interested in doing something? If you change your mind, that's cool. Just let me know.
Yeah.
And I always try to get them to tell you, hey, no, I changed my mind, because then I get to quit bothering them, and I get to take them off my list.
Yeah. And then your list is just getting more intense and more intense of people who are really working with.
Yeah, it's like give them permission to say no. People are scared to say no. Like they don't want to hurt your feelings or whatever it is. Like especially in sales, no one wants to say no. So tell them, hey, you know what? That's no problem if you're not good. Just let me know. I'll quit bugging you.
Exactly. That's how I am. I'm like, hey, have you found someone else to work with? Like whatever it is. Like, are you going in a different direction? If you are, no problem. I'd like to know why. But then besides that, like, let's just keep on pushing.
Right.
Okay, so we got that. Go high level. What were your other big takeaways from Russell's thing? This is what I want to know.
That's a good one, dude. I took away a lot that I see today from, this was probably, I went to Funnel Hacker Live. It was back in, it's probably like 7-8 years ago, right? I even see it today, just with like the psychology and just even dealing with people. I don't know any exact examples, but like dealing with them, the whole process, like even things like that, like telling them, hey, it's okay. Like giving it and then pulling it away. It's like, hey, it's no problem. We're going to have a limited thing. Or just even how email and promos, things like that. I put on my emails sometimes like a PS at the bottom. I actually think I got that from Neil Patel, though. You know Neil Patel?
Bro, he's another like idol of mine.
Yeah.
I think he is world class.
You know what? I just got an email. He's coming on the podcast.
What?
Yeah. I met Neil. Like, I don't know him. I met him at the same event. I went to an event right before Funnel Hackers in Orlando when I went. Met Neil, me and my brother. I'm like, dude, like Neil Patel is the genius in SEO. And yeah, I just got an email yesterday. He's coming on supposedly.
Bro, that's so cool.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who don't know who Neil Patel is, I heard him on a podcast called My First Million. And he like came on, was like, yeah, like I think my burn rate's like $100,000 a month of like what I spend on just living my day-to-day life. And then he goes into like his entire psychology of how he can acquire multiple companies. I think he has like 30 companies in his portfolio and these aren't like little dinky companies. These are substantial companies. And his biggest thing was, I look at it, I know I can drive traffic, I hire an operator, and then I call it a day and I let the operator do everything else. But he has like one amazing skill set. He's like, bro, if I can drive traffic to it, I can for sure hire an operator and we're good to go.
Yeah. He's a really smart guy. Biggest thing I got from probably the Russell Brunson thing. Well, number one, people value expensive stuff. Like if you, so I've noticed on pricing things, say you give away your book for free, right? Everyone will take it. They're never going to really read it. If you charge $10, they'll take it and they may read it. You charge the higher the value goes, it could be the same product as long as it delivers value. And the perception from what people have is going to be way higher, even for the same thing. So a lot of times I see people offering their services for too cheap. It's like, dude, you need to raise your price. You may have a little bit less clients, but the quality will be way better.
Oh, man. I mean, I got a whole rant for this. As far as, all right, so like you have all these cheap companies, but you have a cheap company that cannot afford infrastructure, right? So you're going to get really shitty results.
Mm-hmm.
So like with us, I'd say we are in the premium aspect of what we do. And everyone's like, well, I can go find someone to do this at $4 an hour. Like, okay, yeah, if you're paying a company to do that for $4 an hour, there's just not enough money going into the company for things to be done the right way. Like just looking at it, like I know like there's no staff there, there's no training budget, like there's nothing.
Well, and if you look at exactly. And you look at from your side, which of your clients are your best clients?
Bro, the people who actually spend money.
Right. Because they're busy, they value time, and they're looking for you to do the job for them versus for you and them to do the job and to micromanage and nitpick.
Bro, like, exactly right. Like, just let the job get done. This is why you came to us. We're good to go.
Right. Yeah. So like even stuff like that. And then the upsell is crazy. Like, hey, by the way, do you want this? Which everyone knows how to upsell, but you can do that like on a funnel or even in a checkout or lead gen. It's like, hey, you want to sign up for my service? Oh, by the way, did you need our CRM? Did you need this? Did you need that? $50 adds up. You know what I mean? $50, $100 here. That was a big thing I learned in that, but mainly the storytelling stuff from Russell. That's I think his biggest strength is storytelling. Dude, he sold like 300 people $20,000. It was 20 grand again in his 2 Comma Club thing, right? In the Funnel Hackers. At the end of the event, he gave his pitch. 300 of us went up there and gave him his card for like 20 G's each.
Bro, no, what is it? I think he did like one of the biggest sell from the stage at Grant Cardone's event. I think it was like an hour and a half presentation.
Yeah.
And he made like a couple million.
Yep.
I think he said like $2 or $3 million all from the stage.
Yeah. He did that here too. It was great. He's just really good at that.
So that was the other thing I wanted to get good at $1 Million Meeting. Like that's when I really started like digging into like Russell Brunson stuff too, because I know he's so good from having people take action from the stage and selling. Like that is like a unique talent and a very, very good skill.
Yeah. And he started selling like potato guns.
Oh yeah, like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like he just started and like he just has a gift on that side, you know?
Exactly. But yeah, so for our ebook, we're at $5. And I feel the same way you do as far as like the lead quality. Pay for it a little bit because free means nothing. Honestly, just pay for the more expensive lead. The value that it's coming out with is actually amazing. And I could even say the same thing. I just paid for $7 for a 300 different TikTok hooks.
Okay.
For TikTok marketing, and I went through and I used 150 of them and came up with 150 new hooks in our own spaces that we could use. Generally, with a free thing, you aren't gonna see like that same amount of commitment, right? Because even just me pulling out my card and doing that bullshit is commitment there. To where if it's free, it's got to hit download.
That's what I was gonna say too. That's one thing in that thing I was doing with the Brunson too. He said just get him to give you $1 because now you just segmented the list. Like you got rid of all the free tire kickers, even a penny. Like segment the people that will give up money, even if it's $1 or a penny, than the people that won't. Build your list on the people that will pull the wallet out.
Very, very true. So tell me about Motivated Leads, because you still have your agency that runs a bunch of stuff. And then when did you start your agency? What did that look like? And then tell me about Motivated Leads, the pay-per lead side.
Yeah, cool. I don't really even have the other agency anymore. Like we're 100% focused here. So I started on Upwork, right? Freelancing.
Uh-huh.
And then I started an agency. I don't remember when it was. It was a while ago, called Think Big Marketing. Only offering SEO. Then I hooked up with one of my buddies, Phil, who did SEO. He did my buddy Phil did real big SEO, like $20,000, $30,000 a month retainers. I got into the business. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to offer affordable SEO, like $1,500 a month. Started doing that, grew, and then I hooked up with Chad. Chad was doing Facebook, crushing it with Phil. They started an e-com, went from like 0 to $1 million in like 6 months or something. And then we all partnered up, had an agency called iFlow, which we didn't work well together, dissolved that. But then me and Chad out of that, like made a connection. And we just started Motivated Leads like 2.5 years ago.
Well, 3 partners is hard, dude. 3 partners is hard. Splitting anything 3 ways is hard unless you're doing hundreds of millions, in my opinion.
Anything's hard. It's not even about the money. I don't even care about the money. It's about dealing with people. You know what I mean?
That is very true.
Like
for me, what's the upside? Yeah. Well, you got upside, and then you have managing now 2 other personalities when a decision is being made.
Right.
Which is what sucks to me about partnerships.
Yeah, and it depends what kind of person you are. Because I'm kind of like a bull, and I just want to do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I'm not
That's
really
how most of us are.
Yeah, most of us, yeah, like in this space are that way. We're like A-type personality. And it doesn't work well when you get a bunch of business owners together. So say, no, dude, you got to do it this way. It's like, no, you got to do it this way. And when you're talking about big money and you think you're right and they think they're right, it's like, what do you do? You know, real stressful.
Exactly. And so you had so you're doing your agency.
Yeah.
Right. And then when did you start doing pay-per-lead?
We started we started Motivated Leads. I even tell you about that. We started Motivated Leads. Chad and I were like, hey, let's start some. We started it right when COVID hit. We both stuck $2,000 in. We're like, hey, let's see if we can make $4,000 turn into something. And it just like kind of blew up, you know. Pay-per-lead, we just started that like 2 months ago.
Bro, you guys really you guys scaled it up to a couple million off of $2,000.
Yeah, we went from 0 to seven digits in 12 months. Yeah, it went over 2 mil in 12 months.
That is so cool. Yeah, what would you say go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What was the biggest reason for that uptrend? That's pretty fast growth for anything. Like even if you're a startup, and you do 2 million in your first year, that's a ton. I don't know if you saw like what Figma did.
I didn't.
Bro, all right. Quick tangent. Figma, they are a competitor to Photoshop. They started in 2011. For 2 years, they didn't have any product. And then in like 2013, they did 400,000. 2014, they did 700,000. 2015, they did like 7 million. And then this year, they'll do 450 million. Like, so think about like that crazy exponential growth. And like that's like uncalled for.
Yeah, like I think the thing with us, like what we were able to grow is, number one, I failed a lot before. So I got to like bring those mistakes with me. Me and Chet, like I usually push really hard. Like I named my first agency Think Big. I'm always trying to think big. The way I think is so small compared to where Chad's at. So it was kind of cool because I'm like, dude, what if we can get this like $500,000? He's like, dude, what if we get this to 10 million? Like, so it was constantly always pushing me to think bigger, but we just both sprint. It's like, we're just going to keep running and running and running as fast as we can. And that worked. And also making the right decisions, like knowing when to cut things and knowing when to sprint.
So what are you cutting and how did you find out you needed to cut it?
There's different things, like even cutting, we were taking on cheaper clients. That's one thing we cut. We were selling more people. It's like, dude, we need to cut these people. They're taking 80% of our time dealing with customer service. Let's raise our prices, sell less people. There'll be better quality, right? And it's not better quality people. It's just a better quality client. They're just in a different stage in their life. Exactly. So making decisions like that, but those are the hard decisions. It's like, okay, we're going to go from selling 10 people to 2 people and trying to scale that up. It's
scary. Yeah, it's scary to do it, but I'd much rather be at the premium product spot or service rather than the cheap.
Right. And we learned too, like one of the mistakes I learned I learned this 4 or 5 times in the first year and a half. We kept trying to bring on, you talked about this, bring on the right people, tried to bring it on as COO, spent a whole bunch of money, hired a yes man, kept trying to bring people on. And we found we're just like street thugs. Like we just got to do it ourselves and roll in the dirt. Everyone else brings in people, high level people and everything. We haven't been able to figure that out yet. So we kept bringing them in and it would keep taking us backwards. So we were bringing the wrong people.
I'm going through hiring on someone like that right now. And the biggest thing is like, they have to be a straight up killer. Like they have to fit the culture or else it'll never work.
Yeah.
And the number one thing that I've been asking people is like, tell me something you've actually fucking built in your life. Like, I want to know what you did at a previous organization where you went in and like you built something. What were the roadblocks you ran into? What was your boss telling you when you said you wanted to build this? Like all those things to see if like we can get anything out of them. But I'm not a marketer, right, to where I've moved into that space, and that's a lot more deep work than I've ever had to do in my life. Generally, I'm just on the phone talking to people. Yeah. So now on the marketing side, bro, I'm in front of my fucking laptop, and it doesn't feel like work. I'm just like doing shit on my laptop all day.
Yeah. It's funny you say like feeling like that. I always thought making money was something different than it was. Like, I don't know, like back in the day before I made money, I'm like, oh, you got to do this. It's going to be so awesome. You're going to make $1 million, stuff like this. And then you make the money, and it's like, dude, I feel the same. It wasn't as fun. It's not some fun thing to make the money. It's like, you just got to do the work.
No, it's not fun at all. I like building things. I'm not going to lie. So I like mind mapping systems and then like semi being the operator, but then like sitting down and writing out a fucking sales letter. That's nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah. And you know what, too? One thing I learned whenever we were doing all this, it's like, find what works and stick with it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, especially marketing and business owners, like we always want to make things better. It's like, okay, that's working. Don't touch it. Keep doing it. It's boring. Keep repeating that because it's making a lot of cash. Versus going and finding, hey, let's change our landing page. Let's change this. Let's create a separate brand. It's like, no, just focus on where the big money is, which is hard,
Right. Well, just keep adding fire to it, right? If it's working, then let's just triple down on it and see what our results are instead of trying a new marketing channel or a new this or a new that. It's crazy how business owners do that.
It's so hard because it's not fun. That is not fun at all. Like once it's like, okay, that worked. And then it's like, we could do way better than this. Let's go over here and start something brand spanking new. And then you distract yourself. And it's like, so that's one thing, like laser focus is what I learned, which is really good,
And so what are you're in Chad's roles? Is it like visionary integrator? Because again, I think marketers are so different because like there could be a visionary, but the visionary still has to sit in front of a computer. To when I think of a visionary, I think of someone who's just kind of like on the phone, wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. So our roles, we kind of both do everything, but I told him, I'm like, dude, picture us as a ship. His job is to make our ship go as fast as possible, and mine is to keep it going straight. Because he'll have us go, you know what I mean? Like, my job is just to keep us going towards the right direction because he'll sprint super fast. But we got to make sure we're going still in the right direction or not,
Exactly. And Chad's background is super dope, bro. I've been seeing their ads ever since we started talking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I've been seeing their ads forever.
Yeah.
And so what is a way that people can really navigate the PPC space and Facebook space if they wanted to run their own ads successfully? Like, what's best practices? Don't mess these up that no one really talks about.
Best practice, like we said, get the tracking on the websites with Google and Facebook. On Google, you have to be really careful. If you're running Google, go in and look on the left-hand side. It will show search terms, like what people are searching. This space is really expensive cost per click. Look in there, see which words are not relevant, and negative them out. That means like put them on a list that they won't show anymore. Okay, that's a huge one on Google because a lot of people just run. They do really broad campaigns. It might be $50 a click. So if you're getting clicks for sell my house instead of sell my house fast, you're getting a whole bunch of people clicking your ad that want to list on the MLS. They're never going to fill out your form and you're going broke. $50 per click. Like if you have a 10% conversion on your website, which is high, $50 a click to get 100 clicks to get 10 leads is a lot of money you can go through insanely fast. Be real direct in your messaging. Same thing on your website. Be really direct. And then once you test something and leave it go, like test it, like do something, leave it go for a week or two. Don't touch it. Same thing, like especially with
how much money should they be spending when they're letting it go for test?
I don't know. It depends whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to test like legit, I'd probably say for motivated sellers, like $50 a day, something like that. It doesn't have to be crazy. You can test lower if you want, like $1,500 a month on ad spend. But I see a lot of people because Facebook's algorithm will work like this. Like I'll stick a campaign up, it'll suck for maybe 2 days, and then it starts working. And then a couple of days later, it might suck again. And you just have to like kind of ride it out and look at a 30-day window on your cost per lead or cost per acquisition versus looking at per day because you'll drive yourselves nuts.
Okay. That's really good advice.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And then do it consistently. Don't try Facebook for a week. Like decide, hey, I'm going to do this for 3 months and see if it works. And then if it works, it does. And if not, 3 months that's like kind of like not even almost enough time. But everything you do will work if you do it consistently. Depends on how well it works. I mean, you can cold call, you can text, you can drive for dollars, you can send mailers. Like everything works. It just depends on their ROI. So just pick and don't do 10 things at once.
Right. Well, if you stay focused, I always tell people, like when people come to us and they're like, yeah, well, I'm in 3 different markets and like they want like one cold caller. I'm like, the goal is to punch through the wall, not shine a spotlight on the wall. So think of your ad spend as a laser beam.
Right.
A laser beam needs to get through the wall. And then I'd rather turn up the laser beam than just shine a spotlight on the wall forever and hope for the best.
Yeah. You know what I see? That brings up too. I see a lot of people trying to do virtual. A lot of guys hit me up. They're like, hey, because you can get leads for like $20 if you target the whole United States. It's really cheap. And a lot of guys are like,
hey, you have a lot of rural.
You got a ton of rural and you got a ton of deals. You get cut out. Like I've met maybe 2 or 3 people that have done virtual nationally successfully. I talked to a lot of people. Most of the people buy a course and they're like, hey, do this and you're going to crush it. And it never pans out. So like you're saying, focus on your area, focus in your backyard, like focus where you're going to have the highest close rate and then build out. But don't go crazy because you can get a whole bunch of leads. If you can't convert them, they're useless.
Exactly. That's another reason why we quit. Call magicians at least quit working with new people is because like, bro, we could send you the best leads in the world. And then if you can't close a paper bag, then you're just essentially burning money every month.
100%.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Yep.
It could be the best lead ever, but if you just don't know how to talk to someone, it's over. Like you just wasted that money.
Right.
Well, awesome, bro. Any other tips to leave these people with?
I'd say if you're doing motivated seller lead gen, call them as fast as possible. Like within seconds, someone fills out a lead form on your website. You have to call them within like a minute if you possibly can, because someone else is gonna. Like if they're going down filling out websites, first person to get to the lead, if they're a motivated seller, if you look reputable and they're given a fair offer, they lock the deal down and they never answer the phone. Now you think you're just getting garbage leads because they don't answer.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, speed's huge.
I have one story about this. When I was working for Allen when I first got started, we got a PPC lead and I was the second guy there. I showed up and the other guy walked out of the house with the contract.
Yeah.
Like you got to be there, be first. Because, bro, if someone's putting sell my house fast into the fucking internet, they're selling that goddamn house.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you got to be quick. You got to take the opportunity when it pops up. Don't putz around. That's where the text comes back too. It's like you can get back to them really quick, even if it's 3 a.m.
And do you just have that automated through like Zapier or something?
Yeah. It just automatically goes out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, right through Zapier. Yeah, it's just a app. It's like super simple.
Well, that's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, man.
Where can people find out more about you? Where can people find out more about Motivated Leads?
Yeah, just go to our site, motivated-leads.com. Yeah, fill out a form there if you guys want to chat. We can do custom marketing or pay per lead,
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. All right, brother.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Winning Move podcast. I hope it helps you make all the right moves in your life and business. Please make sure to go like and subscribe on any podcast platform that you're listening to, and make sure to go follow me on Instagram @StratDaddy. Thank you guys so much.